5:30 having arrived. We can just check in with folks. Are we ready to stream? And we have
So is the audio on the phone and computer connected? You'll have to disconnect one audio.
We're not on the phone.
We're not on the phone.
Okay, so they can hear us.
Mhm.
Getting the feedback. Okay,
Yeah.
so are we streaming?
We actually.
Okay, well, the hour 5:30 having arrived, I'm going to call this meeting of the Finance and Personnel Committee this Monday, November 28th of 2022, sorry, to order. Yay. Okay, roll call please.
Alder Taft,
Here.
Alder Pete,
Here.
Alder Horton,
Here.
Alder Tate the second, Alder West is excused, and that completes roll call.
Fantastic. The first item then that we are taking up is the approval of the minutes from the November 27th, 2022 meeting.
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, moved by Alder Pete, seconded by Alder Horton. Do we have any discussion on that item? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, next item, please, Director Fisher.
Item 0861-22, communication sponsored by Alder West on behalf of the city clerk, requesting that the list of alternate early absentee voting locations for all elections in the 2023 calendar be approved. Staff recommendation that the list of alternate early absentee voting locations for all elections in the 2023 calendar year be approved. No fiscal note on this item. Clerk McMiniman is here to speak on the item.
Please proceed, clerk.
Thank you. So this is an item that will come back before you every year. We have to have all of the potential locations noticed and approved by council by a certain deadline in January. So we like to come through in December and give ourselves a little bit of a time buffer just in case. There was one correction to the upload. If you look at the upload now online, it has been removed. But there was a Graceland Garden apartment at 5000 Graceland Boulevard on the second page of the attachment that has been removed. But otherwise, I believe there are only a couple of locations added this year. They're going to be the last couple before the all city buildings as listed. So it's going to start with the Piggly Wiggly on Erie Street, and the rest of those ones down are the new ones that have been added this year.
Okay. Do we have any questions or comments for Clerk McMillan? No questions from the committee. Please proceed, sir.
Colonial Park's listed twice. Is that because you're gonna go there twice or just miss it?
Well, think about, no, I'm just kidding. At this point, no, we would only be potentially going once, although if it's listed on there, it doesn't mean you can only go once. It's just a list of potential locations. So even if it's listed twice, that's okay. Even if it's only listed once, you could go there twice.
Okay.
The-
So go ahead.
Yeah,
Sure.
So the list doesn't mean that you're actually gonna go to all these places, that you could potentially go to all these places?
Correct. Those are all the places approved by the county council to be able to hold early in-person voting. However, we might not use them all, or we might use some more than once. It depends on the schedule that we can put out.
Alder Peterson.
For when this goes before council, can you update the list to reflect which locations are in which aldermanic districts, just to get a sense of how many locations potentially may exist for each district?
I'll do my best to get those all listed.
North Beach is also listed twice. So, cool. Are there any other questions, comments? Okay, seeing none, a motion would be in order at this time. Moved by Alder Tate second,
Second.
seconded by Alder Horton. Any discussion on the item? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 0879-22, communication sponsored by Mayor Mason, requesting permission to submit an ordinance change to ordinance number 0016-22, section 2-62 of the municipal code to update the common council regular meeting times. Staff recommendation is to approve an ordinance change to 0016-22, section 2-62 of the municipal code to update the common council regular meeting times. Clerk McMiniman is here to speak briefly on the item.
Sure. So this item was sponsored by the mayor to remove the start times from the ordinances. I believe we have the attorney's office and Paul here as well, but I believe that the ordinance intent was to be able to be flexible around other committees, to be able to offer that, whether water, wastewater looks like it's going to be extra robust, or a committee of the whole or things like that, so we don't always have to wait till 7, I believe is the intent.
Okay. We have any further? That's a good summary. Okay. So I guess my question was, if it's not 7 o'clock for the common council regular meeting times, are we still intending to meet at 7? Or is that going to be set by the mayor in the beginning of the year in consultation with the clerk and council? Or like, how does that work? Like if we want to change it to 6 for the year, how does that work?
So I believe that by removing it, it would be something that the chair can decide every meeting going forward. However, I believe the intent was to have a standard time, hopefully a little bit sooner, closer to 6 if there aren't other robust committees going on. However, the chair would have the authority to determine this.
Chair, council?
Yes.
Okay, mayor. Yeah, okay.
Yes, is there any legal information from the attorney's office? The interpretation of the intent?
Attorney Rubin, do you have anything to add?
My understanding is that really all this does is remove the 7 o'clock start time. And then it sort of leads it to the ordinance 2-62 states that at its first meeting in December of each year, the common council by majority vote of the members shall establish its meeting schedule for the following calendar year. So that's when dates, times will be
Yeah.
officially set and obviously noticed as they.
So we're not talking about moving meetings around or a bunch. It's just sort of like, we're still setting at the beginning of the year because they still have to be noticed in advance.
Yeah, my understanding is this just gives a little more flexibility about that 7 o'clock start time that was otherwise codified in the ordinances.
Yeah. Okay.
So we could, make sure I'm clear, we could change it, the common council could change it to 7:30 fall of 2023, what you're saying, at the December meeting.
Well, the chair of the council,
The chair of the council.
in consultation with council, so, yeah. Okay. Yeah, please. proceed.
So at the first common council in December, so the upcoming common council meeting, there'll be a direct referral with an item with all the meeting dates. I believe the intention of the ordinance is just to remove it to be able to be flexible depending on what's going on. But I believe that the mayor has the intention to hopefully set them for 6 o'clock if there's no other robust committees happening at the same time.
Okay, good times. Any other questions, concerns, comments? Then the motion would be in order.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, moved by Alderman Horton, seconded by Alder Pete. Any further discussion on the item? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please, Director Fisher.
0771-22 communication sponsored by Alder Taft on behalf of the wastewater utility requesting a resolution regarding declaration of official intent to reimburse for costs attributed to the Main Street to Gould Street Sanitary Sewer Improvement Project. Staff recommendation to review and approve the declaration of intent to reimburse for costs attributed to the Main Street to Gould Street Sanitary Sewer Improvement Project. Fiscal note, the wastewater utility is applying for a clean water fund loan. All costs expended attributed to the sewer improvement project may be rolled into the loan and principal forgiveness be awarded to reduce the estimated $34.5 million amount borrowed. Director Tillis is here to speak on the item.
Please proceed, sir.
Good evening. So, like you mentioned, for wastewater projects, we have to do a fair amount of planning and engineering ahead of time. So the utility floats those costs, and this is just the official intent to reimburse once we get intended funds from the DNR.
Okay, are there any questions, comments about this? Is this, I'm just trying to think whether this is the amended cost. This is the full cost that we
So-
discussed.
So they have us list the maximum cost of the project. So what's the not to exceed?
But I believe the other, take a second, remind me, this is the item I think we discussed about. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay, that seems to be fine. I'm okay with this. So does anybody have any other questions, concerns, comments?
It's my own question would be for Director Fisher as it relates to city finances. Obviously, this is their request for intent to borrow in advance of potentially being reimbursed to some degree by the city. What are your view as it relates to the fiscal sustainability of these actions?
Yeah, so again, we go through this every so often, a little more lately with the wastewater utility relating to these forgiveness loans through the Clean Water Fund. The program is a really great program. I would say the confusing part of the program is exactly as it's listed here. This number of this $34.5 million. This does not mean we're going to spend $34.5 million. It just gives the official intent that we have to then give to the DNR. It is my understanding that they will come back later when we have actual costs with the actual loan agreement and the forgiveness agreement from the DNR. Having said all of that, these debts are not specifically tax levy related debts. However, they are to be repaid through user fees associated with specifically the wastewater utility and any other communities that may be involved in this project, whether it's City of Racine or the outlying communities, Mount Pleasant, Caledonia. So it's a little bit different than our regular debt that we would issue through the City of Racine and does not affect our capacity to borrow under the regular City of Racine obligation.
Okay. I appreciate that clarification. Any other questions? Okay, a motion would be in order at this time.
Move to approve.
Okay. Moved by Alder Pete, seconded by Alder Horton. Any further discussion on the item? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is also a wastewater item, I believe. We have City Director Fisher.
0886-22 communication sponsored by Alder Taft on behalf of the wastewater utility requesting review and update of previously authorized resolution number 0552-21. Staff recommendation on this one is that the fiscal note of the original resolution number 0552-21 be updated to read as follows. The wastewater utility is applying for Clean Water Fund loan. All costs expended attributed to the sewer improvement project may be rolled into the loan, and principal forgiveness may be awarded to reduce the estimated $21.2 million amount borrowed. Again, that fiscal note is repeated under fiscal note. Just for reference here, Director Tillis is here to speak on the item, but what was missed when the council passed the initial resolution of 552-21, there was no dollar amount included, and the DNR requires a dollar amount be included, even if it is an estimate. So that is all that we're requesting, is really to put that $21.2 million estimated dollar amount in.
Okay. Anything to add to?
Nothing.
Okay, good summary. Thank you. All right. Any questions about this item? Comments? Seeing none, a motion would be in order at this time.
Vote to approve.
Moved by Alder Horton. Seconded by Alder Tate II. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, thank you, Mr. Tillis.
Item number 0864-22, communication sponsored by Mayor Mason and Alder Land requesting permission to enter into a sole source professional services agreement with Smith Group Incorporated for construction management services for project contract 2022132 Zoo Pathway Permanent Repair. Staff recommendation that the mayor and city clerk be authorized to execute and sign the professional services agreement with Smith Group Incorporated. I do want to make that change, just I'm going to say that verbally. The attorney's office wanted that specified for construction management services for project contract 2022132 Zoo Pathway Permanent Repair. Fiscal note, the cost of approximately $80,000 is budgeted in the 2022 capital plan under 45050571110. Director Molbeck is here to speak on the item.
Yes, good evening. If you don't know, the last 2 years, we've been working with the Smith Group for the erosion damage that happened 2020. And the project that we're talking about right now was approved a couple weeks ago, I believe it was, at council for the pathway behind the zoo. Smith Group was the firm that actually designed and planned it and everything. We feel at this point it's a smart move to stay with them to do the construction management from the beginning to the end of the project. So we're asking for us to go and do the sole source approval. As Smith Group continue with the work.
Okay, any questions for Director Molbeck? Alder Pete?
Yes, I understand you've been working with the Smith Group. but did you look at any other groups or bidding or anything of that nature this year?
At this point, we did not because of all the work, and it's been over a year and a half or so of work put into the plans and specs that we felt there was no one that's gonna be able to pick that up, like the Smith Group that actually wrote it and planned it. We just thought it was best to stay with them.
It's a very good argument. It costs more for them in time and labor, additional cost for them to figure out what went into the original plans is what I'm hearing.
Correct.
Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, a motion would be in order at this time.
Move to approve.
Okay, moved by Alder Peak, seconded by Alder Horton. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item number 0877-22, communication sponsored by Alder Taft on behalf of the fire chief requesting permission to apply for a grant up to $25,000 from the Racine Community Foundation for the acquisition of a trailer that will be used for hauling heavy equipment associated with the hazardous materials and technical rescue team, grant control number 00491. Staff recommendation that the fire chief be granted approval to apply for the grant. Fiscal note, there's no local match required for this grant if awarded. Chief Hansen is here to speak on the item.
Please proceed, chief.
Chairperson Taft and members of the Finance Committee. I'm going to have the time chief, Mike Yarmel, speak to this item. He's spearheading this, and I'd like him to talk a little bit about it. Thank
Please
you, Chief.
proceed, sir.
Good evening. So the purpose of this grant application is to potentially acquire a trailer that we'll use for our hazardous materials team and also our technical rescue team. Right now, we've got a situation, where we've got equipment in multiple trailers. And essentially to streamline operations, we're just trying to get into a larger trailer that will allow us to basically package all that equipment in a single space. So we're looking for approval to go after these ones.
Second.
Oh, okay, moved by Alder Page II, seconded by Alder Horton. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Next item, please, Treasurer Fisher.
Item number 0876-22, communication sponsored by Alder Taft on behalf of the fire chief requesting permission to acquire a new 2023 Ford Horton Medical Response Unit from Foster Coach Sales Incorporated of Sterling, Illinois. Staff recommendation that the purchasing agent be directed to procure with Foster Coach Sales Incorporated. I'm adding that Sales Incorporated again on behalf of the attorney's office of Sterling, Illinois for the acquisition of a new medical response unit rescue squad with funding coming from the 2023 Fire Department CIP program. Fiscal note, funds to defray the costs are available in 45030573010. Chief Hansen is here to speak on the item.
Please proceed.
Chairperson Taft and members of the Finance Committee. I'm going to have Assistant Chief. Ryan Wolf come up and talk about this. He's spearheading one of the grants that's going to be used on this process.
Good
Fully
evening.
safe, yeah.
So this is simply to replace an ambulance, like our current cycle. We're using money, if you recall, in September that we asked to accept from a grant from DHS for the EMS Flex grant. We're going to use that in addition to the CIP funding, which uses less money from the city, and we're going to purchase an ambulance. Hopefully we get it soon, but I know it'll be a long ways out. So any questions
I'm like,
on that?
no.
Right.
What, I just, what is I know that, what is the total cost of the vehicle?
It is, we're budgeting at like 265.
Alrighty, and we did have, we had this.
Just for reiteration, what's the lead time generally on it?
Or normally you get it
Just
like a year. Right now it's like you're gonna have 2 years. So we're just not sure. It just depends on when they get things and we're on the list. So
So I guess my question would be if we wouldn't actually ever secure it until 24, 25, would those funds ultimately come from that year's budget, or because I mean, at what point do we actually release the funds from which budget cycle as it relates for these long-term purchases?
maybe.
So this one would be the 2023 budget cycle. So the city would borrow the money in 2023, be carried over to 2024. Early in 24, they would most likely get their rescue squad. It's a valid point, though, that we do have to be a little bit careful of how much we borrow and when we borrow it in this environment. I am cognizant of that at all times. and watch the capital dollars pretty closely at this point. It's a little different environment than we used to be. I used to say, slow down on your spending. Now I'm like, everybody order. So we have everybody ordering for 2023 capital, like right now. But police cars, everything is 18 months.
So the other thing to this issue too is that we're gonna order the chassis as a city and then order the box from Horton from Foster Coach is gonna marry the two up together. We've been told by Foster Coach and the dealerships that by the city ordering the chassis, we should get that sooner. And to your point, Alder Kate, our original lead time is 445 days. But if we get that chassis sooner by, expending those funds now, we could have that ambulance much sooner.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Alder.
Yes, I'm sorry to have to go back to where Director Fisher just went, but in this interest rate environment, does that affect the grant money that the money that they're asking for, or interest rates? Because everything is changing.
So not necessarily. When they requested the grant funds themselves, we did have a little different budget estimate relating to the rescue squad. We actually added some capital dollars very late in the capital process because the cost of the rescue squad itself did go up. So there's a little more city funding in here than we would have wanted, but the grant funds themselves will remain the same.
So going back to all the things, but also, is this rate locked in, or your the total cost locked in now? Or can that fluctuate a little bit because again of lead time and changes in supplies and what have you?
Yeah, as far as I know, it's. gonna be
Once
locked
the
in.
order is placed, we
Yeah.
should be locked,
Right,
which is
right.
also why we're here now instead of January.
So we're anticipating, we've been advised there'll be like a 6% increase after January 1st on this product. So that's why we're ordering it now.
Cyber Monday.
Right.
All right.
It's just gonna start happening. We're gonna start ordering stuff on Amazon.
All right, so that is, does anybody have any other questions or comments? Then a motion would be in order at this time.
Second.
Moved by Alder Chief, seconded by Alder Pete. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Excellent, thank you. Much appreciated.
Thank you for.
Chief, Assistant Chief, Battalion Chief, all the chiefs.
So many chiefs.
Thanks everyone for the card.
Yeah, all right. So next item, please, next chief.
0878-22 communications funds by Alder Taft on behalf of the chief of police requesting permission to apply and accept the alcohol enforcement grant number 00488. Staff recommendation that the chief of police be granted permission to apply and accept said grant. Fiscal note, grant amount is $20,000. City match is 0 to 25% soft match which will be funded through RPD general fund. Chief of police is here to speak on the oath.
So this is one of the grants that we apply for on an annual basis. And the idea behind this one is high visibility alcohol enforcement, so we can reduce deaths and injuries associated with operating while impaired.
Okay. Can you just, I'm curious, what's the definition of high visibility?
High visibility is we route squad cars, and they're not unmarked cars, they're marked cars, and we're actively stopping for probable cause vehicles that fit a profile regarding alcohol use and driving.
Okay. Any questions for the chief? Please proceed, Alder Chief.
Just a quick question as it relates to the grant control request. It mentions the type of range disease municipal, but it says Mount Pleasant instead of Racine. Is there a reason?
So I think Mount Pleasant, is the fiduciary on it.
If I may. Correct. Mount Pleasant is actually the fiscal agent for the grant. So the state of Wisconsin will grant to Mount Pleasant, who then subrecipients grants to the city of Racine. Relatively unusual, but for these small grants, that's the way we have been functioning.
Would there be a disadvantage to the city of Racine if we applied for them on our own?
One that I can think of is given our personnel shortages, and sometimes we have difficulty filling the grant, we might not meet the grant requirements if it's us alone and we're the primary.
Okay, makes sense. Any other questions or comments about this item? Then a motion would be in order.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, moved by Alder Pete, seconded by Alder Horton. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, please.
Item number 0880-22, communication sponsored by Alder Taft on behalf of the Chief of Police requesting permission to apply for and accept the seatbelt enforcement grant number 00489. Staff recommendation that the Chief of Police be granted permission to apply and accept the seatbelt grant. Fiscal note, grant amount is $19,000, city match 0 to 25%, soft match, which will be funded through RPD general fund.
Please proceed, sir.
So this is another safety grant where we actively look to do seatbelt enforcement, recognizing over the years that it's just proven that seatbelts save lives. So the inconvenience of a violation, a seatbelt violation is nothing like compared to the inconvenience of death to your family. So go out and push the right seatbelt tickets.
So this and the previous years, do they require a certain amount of hours to be engaged by the department doing that particular enforcement?
I believe it has, we're right at the edge where we're meeting a number of hours to get it done. So, but this is what we feel very strongly about. So, but as I said before, it's sapping as it goes on. If it becomes more challenging, it becomes more challenging to meet the grant. We're trying to grant the hours.
Do you know offhand how many hours each of these last two grants?
I do not have the hours now.
What is the most common, for, like, not wearing seatbelt, drivers or folks in the back, folks in the passenger?
I haven't looked at the data. I'd be making up if I
Yeah,
came up with
I'm
something.
just curious.
I don't know.
All right. I would imagine, I would hypothesize that it would be drivers, but I'm just curious. Yeah,
I'm the big people still ride those seatbelts. I just,
yeah,
it's like breathing.
yeah. Oh, yeah, no, yeah, 100% yes. Okay. Any other, if there are no other comments, a motion would be in order at this time.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, moved by Alderman Pete, seconded by Alderman Horton, right? Sorry, I thought that's what I heard. And then, any further discussion? Seeing none. Oh, Alderman Flores.
Will there be any type of training to the community about seatbelt use? And the reason I'm asking is, I've been in a situation where I've had had two dead people because they weren't wearing a baby was one of them, and a mother, because they weren't wearing their seatbelt in the front seat. And I had to go through that process. And I'm thinking that some type of announcement or training or, encouragement to wear their seatbelt would be appropriate. Is there anything related to that in the grant?
I don't think there's anything in this grant that allows us to, this is for personnel, not necessarily for advertisement and training that I'm aware of. What we could do though, as an option would be to put something, a PSA on our website. So we could at least take a look into doing that to see how many clicks we get and just as at least a way to notify the public of the importance of making sure we're wearing a seatbelt.
I would appreciate that.
Okay. I think we had a motion properly seconded. So any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is also an item for the chief, I believe. So
Number 0884-22, communication sponsored by Alder Taft on behalf of the Chief of Police requesting permission to accept the fiscal year 2023 Beat Patrol grant number 483. Staff recommendation that the Chief of Police be granted approval to accept said grant. Fiscal note grant amount is $121,434. City match is $40,478.
please proceed. We don't have a fiscal note of where the match is coming from, what the account is.
Sure.
So
So
that-
the city match is actually coming out of regular salaries within the department's
Okay.
operating budget, general fund.
Okay.
So basically it covers a portion of two officers, I believe. The state portion has been exactly the same, I think, my entire career, just for reference. And obviously our internal costs have gone up.
So this grant is designed to give the house officers an outside beat officer to do some of the roving patrols and work in concert with the house officer to address issues that are criminal in nature. So I think out of 6 or 2 beat houses, we have 2 that are actually that are paid for by grant for the beat positions themselves.
Okay. Okay, so these are associated with the field, yes, primarily. Okay. Any other questions or comments for our chief? Seeing none, motion will be in order.
Move to approve.
Moved by Alder Pete, seconded by Alder Tate the second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I believe you have one.
One more.
You didn't know it that way. You don't get to- that's how you play it. One of my favorite things, speed enforcement.
Yeah.
Okay.
0881-22, communication sponsored by Alder Taft on behalf of the chief of police requesting permission to apply for and accept the speed enforcement grant number 00490. Staff recommendation that the chief of police be granted approval to apply and accept said grant. Fiscal note grant amount is for $9,000. City match is again 0 to 25% soft match. Will be funded through the RPD general fund.
So this is a shorter period grant, and this is one of the things, one of those positions we've had a little bit of trouble funding, so we applied for a lesser amount for fewer hours as opposed to being able to fill it. Officers are able to make, to do overtime on the relief and help out that way, but this speaks for itself in trying to reduce speeders to increase safety within the city.
Okay, so this is a 4-month grant. What are the months? Is it right away? Is it hot speeding months?
We
What are
tend
the
to go
months?
into warmer months when there's more.
Okay.
more traffic.
Okay. And so 4 months, how many hours a month is that?
I don't have the exact
No
number.
idea.
If you have the number.
Okay, no, it's something I get a lot of calls about.
Yeah, I know.
So-
You know, we had a debate ad nauseam about
Yeah.
the viability of temporary speed bumps in certain areas, or one of the things that we do is we take our speed warning signs, we move them around from
Yeah.
place to place.
Yeah.
In order to make people cognizant of their speeds.
Yeah.
It has somewhat of an impact, but the people that are gonna keep going are going to keep going anyway, so that's why we like to be able to do that. So my goal has been to have our motor units do more speed enforcement and working in pairs, that way to provide a safety element, and also I get more use of my motorcycles, and one of the challenges there is the ability to print a ticket, because we don't do ticket books anymore, so.
Well, we certainly don't, sorry,
$150.
come on.
Yeah, I
Or
think
for the
it's-
total, okay.
I think it's 4-hour blocks. is what we
Okay.
do.
Horrible. Okay, great. I appreciate anybody we can get for speed enforcement. I am all about it, because I sure do get a lot of calls, especially in
We all
West
do.
Racine.
Yeah.
Yes, so great. I know we're overstaffed. Y'all are working hard, and I get it. So it's not criticism. It's just
It's just-
we get a lot of
It's a fact
calls.
of life. yeah.
Yes. Okay, so are there any other questions or comments for Chief? Seeing none, a motion would be in order.
Move to approve. Second.
Okay, moved by Alder Horton, seconded by Alder Pete. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. You are free to go, Chief. Thank you so much. I appreciate your help. I believe that was the last item. There's not a sneaky one in the back.
Not of the
Okay.
note. I try to put them in order.
Okay, I thought so.
Thank you, Pam.
Okay, thank you both.
Thank you.
Okay, next item, please.
Item number 0885-22, communication sponsored by Alder Taft on behalf of the Transit and Mobility Director requesting permission to apply for the 2023 Public Transportation Assistance Program through the Wisconsin Department of Transportation, grant number 00492. Staff recommendation that the Transit and Mobility Director be granted permission to apply for said grant. Fiscal note estimated operating and capital revenue determined by Wisconsin State Statute 8520 and FTA Section 5339. Director Young is here to speak on the item.
Please proceed, Director Young.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. So what you see in front of you today is permission to apply for what is a formula grant. So by virtue of having a transit system and serving an urbanized area between 50,000 and 200,000 residents, we're able to have state support and federal support. This is the grant application that allows us to pursue those dollars, and we'll have approximately $4.5 million come back to the city.
Okay, where do we fall in that 50,000 to 200,000 range?
Our urbanized area is about 120.
Okay, Alder Tate, second.
So that number you mentioned is part of what we're receiving, that's based on the formula, not a particular number we have to request.
Correct.
Okay, Alder Pete, please. proceed.
Yes, are there any strings to that?
Oh,
Any
there's
tons?
There's a lot of compliance that needs to be done and proof of service that needs to occur.
But this is something that's pretty regular.
This is an annual application.
Yeah, yeah.
And it will approximately make up about 57% of the budget.
Okay, that's good. All right, any further, yep,
I just wanted to clarify one thing, that the director will come back to you with the final numbers and the final agreements from the state of Wisconsin and from the feds. Oh, boy, usually not till about May. It takes them a while, so this is the initial application. Basically, they put the whole budget in, say this is what our budget is, and then the state decides what they want to allocate to everybody. So right around May, he'll come back with the final award.
So if it's based on formula, how much variation is there from the state in terms of what they should or can or would not allocate?
It's a good question. So the state has a little bit of control over what percentage they choose to fund. So it can range anywhere between 52%, and I've seen it as high as 60. I think this year, what are they looking at, 57?
57%.
It can depend on how much the federal government gives to the state itself. So how ours works is state of Wisconsin gets a big lump from feds, and then the state of Wisconsin decides how it's allocated. Those are the two that could move around a little bit. Last couple of years, we've gotten more from the direct fed and about the same from the state. So not a lot of movement in the last couple of years.
all right. Good questions. Any other questions for Director Young? Okay, a motion will be in order at this time.
Second.
Moved by Alder Tate the second, seconded by Alder Pete. Any further discussion on the item? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Director Young. Next item, please.
Item number 0863-22, communication sponsored by Alder Land on behalf of the Director of Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Services, requesting permission to submit the matter of an extension of the Racine Zoological Society Gardens operating agreement for consideration. Staff recommendation that the mayor and city clerk be authorized and directed to execute the one-year extension of the operating agreement for the Racine Zoological Gardens between the city of Racine and the Racine Zoological Society Incorporated upon the terms presented be approved. Fiscal note, the city zoo operating subsidy of $510,000 is in account 150995210 and was approved in the 2023 budget. Director Molbeck is here to speak on the item.
The request is pretty simple. They're looking for a one-year extension to the zoo contract. Everything remains the same, the dollar amount, the verbiage. It's just, we need your permission to go forward. City Attorney's Office to get that in place so that it can be ready to go January 1, 2023.
Okay, any questions for Director Mullen? I didn't. Actually, let me go. Let committee member first. Go for it. Alder Tate.
So the item attached is referred back to starting in 2016, assuming that's the agreement that's been continued to move forward. I guess my question is, previously it was a 3-year period, and now it's a 1-year period, and I'm trying to understand the particular rationale behind that.
Well, sure. It started off the 3-year one from 2017 to 2019. From that point, there's been 1-year contract extensions, mostly negotiation talks, this and that. I know now after this year, the zoo will be looking for its accreditation that they're going to have to actually have a contract in place. So I know that this year coming up in 2023, we'll be putting that all together so that their full contract will be ready in 2024. But there's been one-year extensions, I believe. It was 2021 when 2020 when the dollar amount decreased. I wasn't sure which year it was. It dropped down $510,000 and stayed at that point now. And that's what's being requested. That's what's in the budget. That was approved for 2023 as well.
So with the anticipated accreditation process, does that mean subsequent contracts would look to be for longer periods as opposed to year to year?
I don't know that answer. I want to be, I heard that 3 years was something that they were looking for, but I don't know that that might be a part of the negotiation part of it. But I do know they want more than just a 1-year request.
Yeah, I mean, I can add, I don't want to interrupt all the friends questioning about the same, but since I've been kind of heading the negotiations with the zoo, they had an interest in changing the terms of the membership of the current zoological board. I think on behalf of the city and at the direction of the mayor, he was interested in more clarification of our responsibilities and capital and maintenance, which is under the city because we own the facilities, plus our contribution to their general operating budget, and having some negotiation, what that balance is, and definition of what major capital is, which is general maintenance, which is really unclear in the contract, and I think is a problem. We had several really good meetings. I heard from them what their long-term goals are in terms of being a viable, much more financially stable, viable. They listened to our concerns about, how sustainable 500,000 years, given the city's fiscal constraints looking forward. We just couldn't get to an agreement and decided that it would be best to have this year extension, which we really just in earnest about 6 months ago started discussions, and there just was no way to get to a 3-year agreement for the gives and the takes that we were talking about. These are pretty major.
Thank you.
Okay, Alder Price, do you
That was my question.
have a question? Okay, so, yeah, the contract that is attached is the 2017 contract, and so I know that's the last time we had a contract with them. It would just sort of been 1 year extending the 2017 contract. Oh, I'm sorry, well, the one we have is 2017 to 19, right, yeah,
And
yeah.
there were 3 addendums and there were some, minor language changes and clarifications. But this one from last year is exact. We're not changing anything.
Okay, great. Any other questions for Director Malbeck or City Administrator Blunt? Okay, motion would be in order at this time.
Second.
Okay, moved by Alder Tate, seconded by Alder Pete. Any further discussion? Seeing none, these, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Director
Thank you,
Malloy. Thanks for staying to the end. I believe this exhausts our agenda, so we are in fact adjourned. Boom.